What if I told you that the very thing you're afraid of losing is actually keeping you trapped in a prison you built yourself? Right now, as you're watching this, there's probably a part of you that's worried about something. Maybe it's money in your bank account. Maybe it's time slipping away. Or maybe it's that nagging voice telling you there's just never enough. I know because I lived in that exact prison for years. And today I want to share how one simple shift changed everything. My name is Lorain, and 3 years ago, I was the person who would lie awake at 3 a.m. calculating bills in my head. I was the person who would see a friend buy coffee without checking their bank balance first and think they were being reckless. I was living in what I now call the scarcity trap, where every decision was filtered through the lens of not enough. Not enough money, not enough time, not enough opportunities, not enough security. The breaking point came on a Tuesday morning. I remember it so clearly because it was the day my daughter asked me why I always looked worried. She was 7 years old, and she had noticed that Mommy always had that crease between her eyebrows, always seemed stressed about something. That hit me like a truck because I realized I wasn't just living in scarcity. I was teaching it to her. Let me paint you a picture of what scarcity thinking really looks like, because maybe you'll recognize yourself in this story. It starts small and innocent. You begin checking your bank account multiple times a day, not because you need to, but because you're afraid something might have changed. You start saying no to experiences, not because you can't afford them, but because spending money feels dangerous, even when it's within your means. You begin hoarding things, time, energy, opportunities, thinking that if you just hold on to everything tightly enough, you'll finally feel secure. But here's the cruel irony of scarcity thinking. The tighter you grip, the more anxious you become. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. The scarcity mindset convinced me that the world was a zero-sum game. If someone else succeeded, there was less success available for me. If someone else found love, there was less love in the world for me to find. If someone else got a promotion, the pool of opportunities for everyone else had shrunk. This thinking made me competitive in the worst way, suspicious of other people's good fortune, and constantly focused on what I didn't have rather than what I did. I remember declining invitations to dinners with friends because I was afraid of spending money, even though I had money in my savings account. I remember not applying for jobs I was qualified for because I was afraid of using up my good luck. I remember buying generic everything, not because I needed to save money, but because spending money on anything that felt like a luxury triggered this deep anxiety about future security. The worst part wasn't even the anxiety itself, it was how it affected my relationships. When you live in scarcity, you unconsciously train the people around you to expect less from life. Your partner starts walking on eggshells around money conversations. Your children start to absorb the message that the world is unsafe and resources are limited. Your friends stop including you in activities because they know you'll probably say no anyway. But that Tuesday morning, when my daughter asked why I looked worried all the time, something cracked open inside me. I realized that my scarcity thinking wasn't protecting us, it was stealing our joy. I was so focused on preserving and protecting what we had that I was forgetting to actually live. The shift didn't happen overnight, but it started with one simple question that changed my entire perspective. Instead of asking what might go wrong if I spent this money or took this risk or trusted this opportunity, I started asking what might go right. Instead of planning for the worst-case scenario, I began to consider what the best-case scenario might look like. I started small because scarcity thinking doesn't just disappear with a snap of your fingers. The first thing I did was commit to one small act of abundance every day. Some days it was buying the good coffee instead of the generic brand. Other days it was leaving a bigger tip than usual. Sometimes it was simply complimenting a stranger or offering to help someone without expecting anything in return. These tiny acts of abundance started to rewire my brain in ways I never expected. When I bought the good coffee and nothing terrible happened to my bank account, I started to question other scarcity-based beliefs. When I left generous tips and felt genuinely good about it, I began to understand that giving and receiving could actually create more joy, not less security. The real breakthrough came when I started to notice abundance that was already present in my life. I began keeping what I called a gratitude inventory, but it wasn't just about being thankful. It was about actively recognizing all the ways abundance was already showing up. The abundance of breathable air, of clean water from my tap, of having a roof over our heads, of being able to hug my daughter whenever I wanted. This practice revealed something profound. Abundance isn't about having more stuff. It's about recognizing how much is already available to you. When you truly understand this, your whole relationship with resources changes. Money becomes a tool for creating experiences and helping others rather than a security blanket you're afraid to touch. As my mindset shifted, opportunities started appearing everywhere. Not because the world suddenly changed, but because I was finally able to see them. A friend mentioned a side project that became a significant income stream. A neighbor needed help with something I was good at and offered to pay me for it. My daughter's school needed volunteers for an event that led to meeting parents who became close friends and business connections. The abundance mindset taught me that there's always enough to go around when you focus on circulation rather than accumulation. When you hold resources tightly, they stagnate. When you allow them to flow, they multiply in ways that seem almost magical, but are actually quite logical. Today, 3 years later, my relationship with money is completely different. I still budget and plan responsibly, but from a place of empowerment rather than fear. I still save for the future, but I also invest in experiences and opportunities that bring joy and growth. Most importantly, my daughter now sees a mother who approaches life with curiosity and optimism, rather than worry and scarcity. The shift from scarcity to abundance isn't about becoming careless with resources or ignoring practical realities. It's about recognizing that security doesn't come from hoarding. It comes from trusting in your ability to create value and navigate challenges. It's about understanding that there really is enough to go around when we stop approaching life like it's a competition for limited resources. If you're living in scarcity thinking right now, I want you to know that the prison door is unlocked. You've been free to leave this whole time. You just didn't know it. The key is starting to notice abundance that's already present in your life and taking small actions that reinforce an abundant worldview. Your journey from scarcity to abundance is waiting for you, and it starts with one simple decision to believe that there might just be enough after all. If this video inspired you or gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and share it with a friend who needs this kind of energy. Let's grow together and create abundance.